Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 4:27 here on our Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. We are obviously social distancing from one another this morning as the COVID-19 outbreak continues across America and here in central Indiana as well. And we have had our first COVID-19 death here in the Hoosier State.
That's right. We learned this at a press conference yesterday with the governor. They are announcing that this was a man in Marion County over the age of 60 in that high-risk category. Again, this is our first death in the Hoosier State due to COVID-19. The number of cases also rising here in the state to 24, and there could be many more cases. As we know, testing is limited, and people are still awaiting test results in many cases. So, of course, throughout the day, as any numbers may change, we will, of course, keep you updated and let you know what counties are impacted by those new cases.
And one major move that is happening in order to hopefully stop those number of cases from rising is the closure of bars and restaurants, gyms also closing, a number of office buildings closing. The state is putting restrictions starting at 8 a.m. on what is going to be happening inside these establishments here.
And so they're trying to limit the number of people to less than 50. So that's why several of these areas are going to just be doing carry out and delivery options. You can also get items delivered to your home, but this is a big change, especially for the service industry, impacting the hospitality industry across central Indiana. Marion County, they issued travel restrictions, so you're supposed to limit your travel unless it's necessary to get to work, get to the grocery store, get prescriptions, just to avoid the spread of the coronavirus. So this is a big impact, and we know not only restaurants and places we like to attend are impacted, we also know the wedding industry and events are being impacted here across central Indiana. And Meredith, just devastating for brides and grooms who have been planning for this big day for so long.
Yes, it is about to kick off wedding season here now that we are entering spring. So many brides and grooms scrambling to figure out a plan B. Do they cancel it altogether? Do they hold it later this year? So a lot of people now left in a limbo because they don't know what to do, and they have to coordinate hundreds of people in some cases. So our Kelsey Anderson is going to look into how the local wedding industry is feeling impacted by that. We do want to get a quick check at our weather with Todd Clausen.
And all is quiet here in the weather department on this St. Patrick's Day morning. Temperatures are in the 30s and 40s, and Storm Team 6 radar is pretty quiet. There's kind of a damp feel when you walk out the door here this morning, and the roads will look a little wet. That's just from the moisture that's in the atmosphere, not from anything falling from the sky. So that's the good news. Some morning clouds here will give way to some sunshine as the day goes on. So we'll thin those clouds out as the day goes. And we're looking at a temperature later on this afternoon that'll be topping off right around 53 degrees.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 4:30, Indiana has reported its first death related to the coronavirus. We'll break down the latest guidelines that the governor and the president are putting into place.
Roughly a third of Hoosier workers do not get sick pay, and many are concerned about what will happen if they test positive for COVID-19. What's being done to help during this outbreak?
And more universities are making changes, including canceling commencement due to the virus. The latest on the precautions they are taking and how it will impact students. It is 4:30 here on your Tuesday morning. We want to thank you for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Lauren Casey. We are practicing our social distancing as we are encouraging you to do at home as well. Todd Clausen is standing by on the other side of the studio. Todd, good morning to you. What can we expect in the forecast today?
High five, ladies. High five.
Yeah. I'm like, this is like Brady Bunch.
Yeah, temperatures this morning pretty quiet, and temperatures are in pretty good shape. The weather's pretty quiet, we should say, and temperatures are in decent shape. Kind of a damp feel as you walk out the door here this morning as we are dealing with a little bit of patchy fog. 42 in Bloomington, 41 in Indy right now, 39 in Prue, as well as in the Tipton area. Obviously, today is St. Patrick's Day, and it's not going to be a bad St. Patrick's Day, and many people are obviously at home, and there will be the opportunity to get out of the house and go for a walk here throughout the day today. Radar is quiet, so despite the damp feel that we do have out there, we have no additional precipitation falling from the sky. I guess maybe you can't rule out a little bit of patchy patchy drizzle possibly on the eastern side of the state. But you notice these clouds, they're already trying to break apart in some locations. All the significant rainfall is going to stay to our south. So as we work our way throughout the day today, we are going to see temperatures warm to about 47 degrees by the noon hour. As those clouds thin for some sunshine later on this afternoon, we should see it top off right around 53 degrees.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at traffic. This is our INDOT traffic camera over on the west side, I-465 near the Sam Jones Expressway. You can see traffic here is traveling smoothly, pretty quiet out there this morning. So let's take a turn right now to the east side, I-70 at Sherman Drive. You can see traffic in that area is moving along up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. We'll continue to keep a close eye on your roads as you're heading out there on this Tuesday. And of course, we'll keep you updated.
We are, make no mistake about it, at war with COVID-19, and we will win this war.
Strong words from the governor as he announced Indiana's first death related to the coronavirus. The person who died was a Marion County resident and considered a high-risk patient over the age of 60. The number of COVID-19 cases in the state has also gone up, now totaling 24. The 5 latest cases coming from Bartholomew, Floyd, Marion, Howard, and Hendricks counties. The governor now issuing stricter guidelines to prevent the spread. The orders say hospitals and ambulatory surgical centers should cancel and or postpone elective and non-urgent surgical procedures immediately. No in-person events of more than 50 people are recommended. Bars, nightclubs, and restaurants are required to close to in-person customers through the end of the month. Takeout and delivery services may be offered. Holcomb emphasized that Hoosiers should stay informed and continue to follow the precautionary measures.
Everything we're doing today, social distancing, self or directed isolation, as extreme as those measures may seem, are effective. We know that from experience around the world.
Mayor Joe Hogsett has also issued an executive order to restrict travel during this time. And this order declares a local disaster emergency and issues a watch level travel advisory here in Marion County. It urges people to stay home unless they're going to grocery stores, picking up a prescription, or heading to or from work. The mayor's office says it is a recommendation, just like during a snowstorm. Like Governor Holcomb, Hogsett also ordered businesses like bars, gyms, and fitness facilities to close starting this morning at 8 a.m. The response to the new restrictions, local restaurant professionals met last night in Broad Ripple to create a petition. While they say they agree that closing down is necessary, they're asking the government to provide financial assistance to restaurants, special unemployment benefits to laid off employees, and help the local industry transition to an affordable catering model.
We're hoping that the government will see that, that it would be a good idea to help out restaurants to pay for their unemployment for the people that they have to lay off.
Everyone here is on a new game plan of how to get your restaurants ready and how to provide safe meals for the entire community.
There is some worry that the grocery supply chain is not going to be able to meet the demand, and the restaurants are going to have to pick up the slack.
The group tells RTV6 that Mayor Hogsett will meet with them about this petition later today.
While businesses are worried about making a living under these new restrictions, some workers are worried about making ends meet if they get sick. Roughly a third of Hoosier workers do not get any paid sick leave. That creates a hardship for workers like Desiree Edwards. She works in the fast food industry to help make her family ends meet. But if she gets sick or her children get sick, she has to take time off unpaid.
Do you worry about a sickness facing your family?
Yes, I do, because I come in contact with people through the drive-thru, and you never know who comes through that drive-thru that may have the sickness as well. And not everybody's going to fess up to whether they have it or not. Who wants people to know that they have a virus that is going to affect other people?
The governor's office said Holcomb is looking at all options to address the impact on Hoosier workers. Congress is also working on legislation related to paid sick leave.
The number of COVID-19 cases in the U.S. is now at more than 4,600. President Trump has issued new nationwide guidelines for the outbreak, saying we should be prepared for this to last through July or August. ABC's Alex Prochet has more from Washington.
The novel coronavirus pandemic now affecting the U.S. in ways Americans have never seen. The new normal in California's San Francisco Bay Area, 7 counties now under a shelter-in-place order. Close to 7 million people told to only leave home for food, medicine, or exercise.
We need to anticipate spread, but we also need to prioritize our focus. The most important thing, again, is to protect the most vulnerable.
Los Angeles raising the city's operation to level 1, the highest, deputizing city workers to do jobs they don't normally do. At least 35 states ordering public schools to close, and at least 15 states have activated the National Guard. Also, new guidelines from President Trump's coronavirus task force, now urging people to avoid gatherings of 10 or more people, discretionary travel, and encouraging older people and those with underlying conditions to stay at home. The administration also telling people not to visit nursing homes and recommending bars and restaurants close in states with community spread. The president saying Americans should prepare for this to last well into the summer.
People are talking about July, August, something like that.
And America's healthcare workers already being pushed to the brink. Hospitals are reporting a spike in incoming patients amid a shortage of protective equipment like N95 respirators. The president telling states they should try to get that equipment on their own.
It obviously makes a situation where we are in, desperate need of these, and we actually have to lock them up.
I don't think any country or any preparation in the world will be able to be adequate to have the equipment that you need.
The Senate is expected to take up a virus emergency bill today after the measure passed in the House. Alex Berchet, ABC News, Washington.
Now, while schools in central Indiana are closed these next few weeks, Food Nutrition Services employees here in Hamilton Southeastern schools put on their gloves and they got to work, making sure that those students were fed while the classroom doors are closed. HSC staff members packaged thousands of meals for students in need and held a drive at 3 school parking lots. Parents and students could drive up and pick up breakfast and lunch items for the next 3 weeks. A district spokesperson said they received more than 2,000 students at just 2 of the locations yesterday. For families who could not attend the meal drive-through, caregivers can reach out through email to make arrangements.
More universities are making changes on campus because of COVID-19. Ball State University has announced it is closing its student housing. That will be in effect starting Sunday, March 29th at 5 p.m. But students are free to leave as soon as possible. Purdue University announced they are extending remote learning through the end of the spring semester. The West Lafayette campus says their housing will remain open for those who need it. Indiana State University says it's also continuing online classes through the end of the semester. Residence halls are scheduled to close at noon on Saturday, and spring commencement ceremonies are being canceled. Students at IUPUI are being told not to return to campus housing if they left the city or campus for spring break. Their residential housing office will email students times when they can retrieve their belongings. The university says they are working to figure out if reimbursement will be available for those that leave. We have compiled everything you need to know about COVID-19 in one spot. You can find information about university closures, meal assistance, and the latest on the disease onto our website, theindychannel.com/coronavirus.
Researchers are making progress to develop a vaccine for the coronavirus. Coming up, the big steps being made to fight that outbreak.
While many kids are out of school, one zoo is taking the time to introduce them to some new animals online. Still ahead, a look at the fun Facebook Live activity featuring Fiona the hippo. Todd.
And it's pretty quiet here across central Indiana this morning. That is the good news. Some rain passing to our south. Today is a dry day for us, but the overall weather pattern remains very active. We'll time out our next precipitation chances going forward in this forecast coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 4:40. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
Morning Hoosiers, only on RTV6.
Welcome back. The time right now is 4:43. We're keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. Here's a look over on the west side, 465 and I-74. Traffic is moving along up the speed, northbound and southbound.
I'm also pleased to report today that a vaccine candidate has begun the phase 1 clinical trial. This is one of the fastest vaccine development launches in history, not even close.
President Trump announcing an important step in finding an effective vaccine for COVID-19. A participant in a coronavirus vaccine trial was given their first dose Monday. The study, done out of Seattle, aims to enroll a total of 45 healthy adults over a 6-week time frame. It is meant to prove that the vaccine is safe and gets the correct response from participants' immune systems. While progress is being made, experts say there will have to be follow-up studies, which will take many more months.
Lawmakers are now working to focus on a spending bill for the coronavirus. They first had to address whether or not to extend the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA. The Senate passed a 75-day extension for FISA Monday by unanimous consent. It gives authority for surveillance in international espionage and terrorism cases. The current version expired on Sunday. By moving this, lawmakers say they can begin to consider a coronavirus spending bill, which was approved by the House last week. The U.S. Supreme Court is also postponing its agenda due to the ongoing pandemic. The session was supposed to start next week. While oral arguments will not be heard right now, the justices could still release opinions in some cases. The Supreme Court could adjust its schedule to make up for the delay, but so far no announcements have been made.
Another Hollywood star says he has tested positive for COVID-19. 47-year-old Idris Elba says he received the results yesterday morning. In a video on Twitter, the Luther star says he feels okay and is showing no symptoms. Elba says he has been isolated since finding out last Friday that he had been exposed to someone else with the disease. He went on to encourage people to be diligent about hand washing and emphasize that not everyone who has the disease shows symptoms. Good news for actor Tom Hanks, who also tested positive for the virus. He and his wife, Rita Wilson, were released from the hospital and are now self-quarantined in a home as they recover. The couple is in Australia to work on a film about the life of Elvis Presley.
It is 4:45. Universal Pictures says it has a new plan for its movies since the coronavirus outbreak is keeping people from theaters. The studio announced it will make 3 of its newest films available for streaming this week. The Invisible Man, The Hunt, and Emma are currently playing in movie theaters nationwide. Universal says starting on Friday, the movies that can also be rented from on-demand services by Apple, Amazon, and Comcast, they're going to cost about $20 each, and they can be rented for 48 hours. DreamWorks Animation is also making its movie Trolls World Tour available on demand April 10th, the same day it is expected to hit theaters.
The Cincinnati Zoo is closed as a precaution, but they are still showing off their animals, including Fiona the hippo, for kids on Facebook Live. Fiona became a worldwide celebrity when she was born at a record low weight and survived the odds. Now the zoo is holding live streams to help make many kids break from school fun and, of course, educational. It's called Home Safari Facebook Live. The zoo says during the stream they'll highlight an animal and include an activity. They will do one every day at 3 p.m. Here at 4:46, let's check in with Todd. What are we looking at weather-wise today?
You know, obviously it would normally be a very busy day with people out and about on St. Patrick's Day, and the forecast here is going to be a decent forecast if you do have to get out of the house for that walk through the neighborhood and such. You notice it's getting off to a little bit of a damp start for us. You can see a little moisture on the camera here on top of the Salesforce Tower, and that's just moisture we have in the atmosphere. The humidity is at 93%. There's no actual precipitation falling from the sky, even though we did have a few spotty showers late last night and early this morning. The winds are out of the west at 10 miles per hour. Temperatures in the 30s and 40s, so it's a cool morning for us. Very similar to yesterday. 42 in Bloomington, 43 is the current temperature right now in Muncie. But with the exception of up in Bismarck, there's really no very cold or mild air around, where you have some 50s down to the south. But what we're really going to do over the next few days is turn the winds more southerly, and that eventually is going to bring up some mild temperatures, and it's going to trend very mild here across central Indiana. The problem is it's going to trend also very wet across the area as the mild temperatures come in. Mostly cloudy skies here this morning, kind of that damp feel. Temperatures with the clouds in place won't really move much at all this morning. 42 degrees by 11 a.m. And then as we work our way into the afternoon hours, we're at 2 p.m., 48. By this time, the clouds should start to break apart just a little bit. We're never going to completely get rid of them, but they'll thin for some sunshine at times. This afternoon turns into a decent day, and once we do get into that sunshine, temperatures will start to moderate, and we'll be back up into the low 50s for your afternoon highs. Now, radar is not picking up any returns except for way up here to the north near Fort Wayne, and you can see the clouds trying to break apart already. That should fill back in this morning. again, it's the afternoon hours that will target for some sunshine to develop across the area. All this heavier rainfall, that is going to stay down to our south, so you don't have to worry about that. And you can see on TrueCast here how the clouds just kind of break apart pretty quickly later on this afternoon. So that will be some good news. So if you want to head out the door for that walk, maybe just wait a little while this morning. The afternoon hour is probably better than this morning. Now, this evening, the clouds will start to fill back in late in the day after we have that sunshine through 7 o'clock, sunset right before 8 o'clock. And enjoy the sunshine and the dry conditions, because tomorrow will actually turn into a pretty wet day for us. It turns mild, though, as temperatures will climb eventually into the low 60s. We start off with some dry hours. If you do have to head into work tomorrow morning, the morning commute is going to be dry. Through the noon hour, we should be fairly dry as well. And then the rain will develop tomorrow afternoon. Once the rain does start, though, it is going to be pretty steady throughout much of the afternoon and into the evening hours. And that's the first of several waves of precipitation that will be heading our way. In fact, by the time we get to Friday, some areas across central Indiana could see over 2 inches of rain. Thursday, 70, so nice and mild, but still damp. And then the cold front comes through on Friday with a round of thunderstorms. Behind that cold front, much colder air, obviously, but quiet conditions for the weekend, Lauren, with temperatures in the low to mid 40s.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We're keeping a close eye on traffic as you're heading out the door, maybe to work to start this Tuesday. This is I-465 and I-69 up on the northeast side. You can see traffic here is moving along just fine this morning. No delays to slow you down. So let's take a look over on the east side for your commute. This is I-70 here in Sherman Drive. You can see traffic moving along just fine, both eastbound and westbound. No major crashes or issues to report around the metro area. Of course, we'll keep our eyes on your roads this Tuesday, and we'll keep you updated.
One of the most successful and most controversial college basketball coaches is returning to the court. Rick Pitino has signed on to be the coach of Iona in New Rochelle, New York. Coach Pitino has been out of college basketball since 2017 when he was fired from Louisville after a federal investigation. He says he will honor his current commitment coaching a great team before he leaves for New York. He won national championships at both Louisville and Kentucky.
After a narrow vote, players in the National Football League have decided to expand their regular season. They signed a 10-year collective bargaining agreement that included this extension. The regular season will now have 17 games instead of 16, and the preseason will be shortened. Top players like J.J. Watt and Aaron Rodgers oppose the deal. The agreement was approved by team owners and the league, so it goes into effect immediately. In Colts news, the team is making a trade with the San Francisco 49ers. Indianapolis will get defensive tackle DeForest Buckner for the number 13 pick in this year's draft. A person familiar with the deal says Buckner will receive a new contract for $21 million, but the contract cannot be finalized until the start of the league year. That's tomorrow.
With many zoos closed because of the COVID-19 outbreak, one animal got a chance to explore this little penguin's adventure right after the break.
And the latest COVID-19 restriction on events and gatherings taking a toll on the wedding industry. New at 5 o'clock, what you need to know if your big day is on the line. But first,
I'm Vinny Politan. Coming up today on Court TV, we are live in Polk County, Florida, for the death penalty trial of this man, Andre Warner. He's been accused in the murder of a young single father. It was allegedly part of a burglary. The woman who set it all up, according to prosecutors, has testified for the prosecution. Once again, we are live down in Bartow, Florida today on Court TV.
Vinny, thanks. Don't forget you can watch Court TV live on your mobile device by visiting CourtTV.com. We'll be right back.
By taking Metamucil every day.
While many zoos and aquariums are closed because of the coronavirus, one penguin got a chance to check out the other animals. The Shed Aquarium in Chicago tweeted this video of the penguin named Wellington looking at fish exhibits. He's one of several rockhopper penguins who got to waddle around, of course, under the guidance of keepers. The aquarium says the staff are getting creative with animal enrichment during the closure. They won't be able to open back up until the end of the month at the earliest. Let's get a check of the weather now with Todd. Thankfully, not penguin-like weather, Todd.
He's looking at those fish there saying, I'm free. All right. Mostly cloudy skies here throughout the course of the morning hours, at least over the next few hours, with temperatures that'll fall back down into the 30s. But it actually does turn into a fairly decent decent day for us with skies that'll eventually turn partly cloudy this afternoon. And once we get into that sunshine, high temperatures will be in the low to mid 50s. The time now is 4:57. We're back in just a few minutes. Stay with us. We'll see you in a few.